Use of verb in a sentence depends upon tense. Tense refers to time. There are three tenses: present tense, past tense, and future tense. And each tense has four aspects. That is, present tense has present simple, present continuous, present perfect, and present perfect continuous. Same is the case with other tenses also: past simple, past continuous, past perfect, and past perfect continuous. Similarly, future also has four aspects, that is future indefinite, या future simple, future continuous, future perfect, and future perfect continuous. Today we are going to dwell upon the formation of sentences with using present indefinite, या simple present. How verb is used in the simple present, what rules have to be kept in mind while using the verbs in simple present, and which are the sentences where we are supposed to use simple present. Number one, we will discuss how verb is used in simple present. That depends upon subject also, and when the subject is singular third person, that is he, she, it. This is called singular third person. In such a case, the verb carries has or es or s with it. For instance, he goes to the temple daily. They do not help the poor. They work very hard. She eats ice cream daily. When the subject is third person singular, that is he, she, it, in that case we use s or es after the first base form of the verb. For instance, in the given example, he, go is the base form of the verb, but since the subject is third person singular, he is third person singular, we use es to make the simple present. He goes to the temple daily. But if the subject is plural, as in they work very hard, they is a plural subject, then we use only base verb without using s or es. So we have to put these subjects into two categories. One is third person singular, that is he, she, it, and the second category is I, you, and plural subject. When we say third person singular, if there is any noun as subject, a singular noun, that is also equivalent to he or she. So we are to treat, if we say my brother, it means he. My father, it means he. My uncle, it means he. My teacher, all these nouns, they represent he. If there is some woman, my aunt, then she stands for she. My mother, my aunt, all they are third person singular. It refers to either animals or inanimate objects, lifeless objects. So whenever the subject is third person singular in the present indefinite, we are to bear in mind that in this tense no helping verb is used. We only use the base verb. For example, go is the base verb, and in this category we also add s or es in order to make affirmative sentences. But if the subject belongs to the second category, that is I, you, and plural subject, it could be we, it could be they, etc. So in this category, if there are two persons, they are equivalent to they. And if I and he, they are also equivalent to we. So whenever there are more than one person, there we use they. And I and you are also treated as if they were plural. We don't use SRES with S, I, nor do we use SRES with you and with plural subjects. So with plural subjects, I and you, we use only base form of the verb. Let us take it with one sentence alone. I, you, they, she. Since I also belongs to the second category, we will not use es when the subject is I. We will simply say go. Go to the temple. If you is the subject, even then we will say only go. If they is the subject, then we will not use SEIS. But if she is the subject, since it is third person singular, then we will say goes. Goes to the temple. So whether S or ES is to be used or not to be used depends upon the subject. We must have it clearly in our mind that he, she, it, which is called the third person singular, always has SEIS when the sentence is positive one or affirmative one. But if the subject is I, you, or they means plural. Any plural word is represented by they. And I and you, though they are similar, but still they have only base verb. No SEIS is used when I and you is the subject. So in case we have followed this much, then we can learn to how to make negative sentences. He goes to the temple daily, and we are to convert this very sentence into negative one. He, they, I, you, she, and the verb is go. And we are to change this sentence into negative sentence. In order to frame negative sentence, first we will say he doesn't. Yeah, he does not. When doesn't is used, S is used with the negative word, then with the verb S is dropped. He does not go to school. We will not say he does not goes to school. In case S is used at both places, that is the wrong use of S. When S is used with the negative word does not, then S is not required with the main verb. Since in this sentence there is no other helping verb, we have to use do or does to make it negative. He goes to the temple daily. He does not go to the temple daily. They is a plural word as a subject. When the subject is plural, we don't use S. And in order to make a negative sentence, we will use they do not. Yeah, they don't. Contracted form, we can say they don't, or otherwise they do not go to the temple daily. So when the subject is plural, for instance, Ram and Sham, when there are two persons, it means it is the subject is plural. And Ram and Sham stand for they. We are to see it in terms of pronoun. Ram and Sham, the pronoun for Ram and Sham is they. They do not go to the temple daily. I, despite being similar, doesn't have S or ES. So when I is the subject, we use don't, yeah, do not to make negative. And when you is the subject, we use don't, not, does not. And she being third person singular, we will have to use she doesn't go. So when the one thing that must be kept clearly in mind is when S is used with the helping verb does, then S is not required with the main verb. And in case we are to form the interrogative sentence, these are the subject: he, she, they, I, you, and verb is go to school. We are to frame interrogative sentence. Interrogative sentence means we just ask yes or no type question. When we ask someone, does he go to school daily? So he will answer, yes, I do go to school, or no, I don't go to school daily. So in order to form yes or no type question, always helping verb is placed before the subject. And in this type of tense, we place do or does before the subject. And for the nature of the subject, he being third person singular, we will use does he go to school daily. Does he go to, she is also third person singular. In this case also, we will use does he go to school daily. And they being plural. When the plural is the subject, we don't use does, rather we use do. Do they go to school daily? I and you are exception, though they are singular, but despite that, we don't use s in the case of I and you being the subject. So we say, do I go to school daily? And do you go to school daily? So this is the way of forming interrogative sentences. Either we use does or we use do to ask some question, and the answer to such question is in the form of yes or no. Now this is how the present simple sentences are constructed. But where this tense is to be used, it is the most frequently used tense. Most of the sentences that we speak in present simple. Let us try to understand where this tense is used. When we talk about universal truths, or facts, for example, the sun rises in the west east. The sun rises in the east. Or flowers grow speedily in summer than in winter. Ice freezes at 0 degrees centigrade. Wood floats on water. Either they represent universal truths or they represent facts, and we generally use present indefinite when we talk about universal truths or when we share facts which cannot be contradicted. So in this sense, these are some examples where present indefinite or simple present has to be used. The second use of present simple tense is when we do some action regularly as a routine or as a habit. In order to denote such action, generally adverbs of frequency are used, and these words are such as always, usually, generally, frequently, sometimes, every day, each day, as a rule, normally. Whenever such adverbs are there in the sentence, we can think of, we are supposed to use present indefinite. For instance, he always wears white clothes. He attends his class regularly. They go to Shimla every year. They play cricket in the evening. They play cricket every evening. So all these are habitual actions, they represent routine, they represent habit, and in such sentences, we have to use present indefinite. Indefinite in stative verbs are simply in non-continuous verbs. We can view verbs as event verbs or in state verbs. Event verbs represent some action, because as we say, he is playing cricket. Here playing is an event verb. But there are certain verbs which have nothing to do with action, they simply represent the state. So what various types of stative verbs can be categorized as those which are concerned with our senses. Senses, for instance, see, hear, smell, feel, taste. We don't generally use these senses verb in continuous tense. I don't say I am hearing some noise. We simply say I hear some noise. We don't say I am seeing him coming. We simply say I see him coming. This smells good. We don't say this is smelling good. Sometimes feel, when it represents a temporary condition, then ing may be used, but most of the time I feel very happy to meet him. So this is generally present indefinite. Taste also we use present indefinite. This tastes sweet. This mango tastes sweet. We don't say is tasting. Then the verbs which are related to our thinking process. Such as think, believe, trust, suppose, remember, forget, recollect, etc. They are related to our mind, our thinking process. For example, I think he will not come. I am thinking, we don't say like that. Similarly, I believe that he is a very honest person. I am believing is also not acceptable. Similarly, I trust him fully. I suppose that he will top the class. I don't remember his name. We don't say I am not remembering his name. This is incorrect. Sometimes I forget his name. I am forgetting his name is also incorrect. I recollect clearly when I met him last year. So these words which have some relation with our thinking process are generally used in present indefinite, though there are some exceptions. Consider is also one such verb where present continuous, if the temporariness of the situation is shown, then present continuous is also allowed in such verbs. Then verbs expressing our emotions, feelings, likes, dislikes, etc. For example, I like mangoes. I want or I wish or grapes. Similarly, we use these words like, dislike, want, wish, desire. And these express our likes or dislikes. And in such words also, we never say I am liking, I love, hate. They also come under this category: love, hate, prefer. All these words are generally you. I love him. We don't say I am loving him. I hate him bitterly. We don't say I am hating him bitterly. I prefer coffee to tea. I am preferring. This is not the correct sentence. In most of these verbs, we show our emotions or our preferences, our likes, dislikes. So they represent state verbs and they don't involve any action. That is why continuous tense is not used in such sentences. Then there are certain verbs which represent possession. For instance, have, own, belong to. To have, when it means to possess something, it is not used in continuous tense. For instance, I have 50 books. We don't say I am having 50 books. I have 2 houses. We don't say I am having 2 houses. He owns a farmhouse. He is owning is not correct. This house belongs to me. We don't say this house is belonging to me. So these are also stative verbs which do not represent any action. They simply represent the state. Whose house it is just a state. Then there are certain verbs which are concerned with appearance. For instance, seem, appear, look, etc. Here seem, he seems sad. His seeming sad is not right. He appears to be very happy. He looks gloomy. Looks here means appears, not to see. Here look is not in the sense of he is looking at the board, that is a different meaning. But when look is equivalent to appear or seem, then it is not used in continuous tense. So these are some of, there are some other words also. For example, contain, cost, mean, intend. So these also don't involve any action. If I say this jar contains 50 toffees, so here contain does not represent any action. This project will cost us rupees 50 lakh. I mean to say, we don't say I am meaning to say. I intend to put forth this proposal. So such words which do not refer to any kind of action, they are also used in present indefinite. So these are the stative verbs which are often used in present indefinite. Then sometimes we use present indefinite to refer to future. Present indefinite is also used to refer to future. Generally, when some timetable or official arrangement is there, then such official arrangement or timetable is generally referred to through present indefinite. For example, his plane arrives tomorrow in the morning. Or we can say our school breaks up in March. It restarts in May. Examinations are held in June. This is an official schedule which is generally written in advance in the school timetable. So this kind of schedule which is already settled, in this case also we use present indefinite. Present indefinite to refer to future is also used when there are clauses beginning with temporal adverbs. Such as before, after, when, as soon as, until, till, etc. When the main clause is in the future and the subordinate clause begins with these adverbs, then present indefinite is used to talk about the future. For instance, when I receive any information I will intimate you. In the sentence, I will intimate you is the main clause. And when I receive an information, this also refers to future. But we have not used will receive. We have used only present indefinite to talk about the future. When I receive here stands for when I will receive an information. In such sentences, for instance, he will attend you after he leaves. After Ram leaves. Here, after Ram leaves is a subordinate clause, though it refers to future, but we have used leaves not after Ram will leave. So he will attend you after Ram will leave. So in this way, after being the subordinate conjunction of time, and in such sentences, when the main clause is in the future tense, we use present indefinite in the subordinate clause. So you can frame sentence as wait here. You will have to wait here until I return. So same is the case here also. You will have to wait here. This refers to the future, and until I return also means until I will return. But we don't use will in order to convey future sense when such temporal conjunctions are there in the sentence. So similarly, we don't use future in conditional sentences also. Beginning with if, unless, provided, in case, etc. So in conditional sentences there are two clauses. One is conditional clause and the other is main clause. We do use future tense in main clause, but in conditional clause, though the sentence refers to future, we use present indefinite to convey the future sense. For instance, this is particularly applicable to open conditional sentences, which is conditional sentence of first type. So in such sentences, generally present indefinite is used to convey the future meaning. If he leaves his bad company, he will do well in the examination. Though if he leaves his bad company means if he will leave his bad company. But in conditional sentences, when the main clause has future tense, we don't use future tense, rather we express the future meaning by using present indefinite. The conditional sentences could begin with unless also, unless he works hard, he will not get this job. Unless stands for if not. When we use unless, we don't use not. We simply, unless he works hard means if he will not work hard. This is the implied meaning. But in construction, we use present indefinite and unless is never followed by not. Since not is already there in the word unless. Unless he works hard, he will not get this job. It is also a conditional sentence where we have to use present indefinite to convey the future tense, future sense. Similarly, when there are WH clauses, WH clauses, if the main clause is in future, we use present tense in WH clauses. Present simple in we use present simple in WH clauses. I will find him out wherever he goes. Since this is the main clause, I will find him out, it is in future, and this is WH clause, and it should also be in future wherever he will go, it means. But we don't need to use will go in WH clause when the main clause is in future tense. So similarly, there are certain performative verbs where present indefinite is used. For instance, I apologize that I misbehaved with you. Here, apologize is a performative word in the sense that the sentence following it represents apology. What for is seeking apology since he misbehaved with him. So when this word denotes the clause coming following it, then this is called performative verb, and it is generally used in present tense. I deny that I abused him. Deny is also performative verb. It contains denial. What is the denial? That I abused him. So such verbs acknowledge, apologize, refuse. So these generally are called performative verbs since whatever follows them represents refusal, acknowledgement, apology, denial, etc. So sometimes we use simple present instead of past present to tell stories in a dramatic or more vivid way. In a dramatic or more vivid way. For instance, we can say a farmer goes to the field, he plows there for some time, then he feels hungry, he takes his lunch, then he rests for a while. So this story event can be narrated in the past also. We can say a farmer went to the field, he plowed there for some time, he felt tired, then he stopped plowing and he took his lunch and rested for a while. But in case we narrate it in the present, then it appears to be more vivid and it is called a dramatic style of telling the stories. So in this way, we use present simple to tell story also. The present simple is also used to make sports commentary in sports. Hits the ball, strongly, it crosses the boundary, he scores 4 runs, people clap thunderously. This 4 proves a match-winning hit. So in this way, whenever some commentary about sports is given, then generally present indefinite is used. But sometimes when we make background description while narrating something, in that case present continuous is used. For instance, rather than referring to the action, we say he is now holding the ball. And polishing it. So here the commentary is not being given about the action, it is just describing that background situation. So in this case we can use present continuous. Sometimes when we give instruction, in that case also we use present indefinite. For instance, you turn to the left at the next crossing, then you turn to the right at the next turning point, then So this is how we give instruction, yeah, to someone, direction to someone. You turn to the life we are directing, how you are to reach your destination. At the next crossing, you are to turn to the right, then you are to turn to the left. So we use present indefinite to give commentary, to give instruction also. When we share some information that we hear or read from some source, so in that case, reporting verb is generally used in present indefinite. For instance, I hear that he has left the job. I understand that he wants to set up his own business. I gather that the government does not spare his political rivals. In this way, this reporting verb, when it is used in present indefinite to report what we hear or what we read somewhere. It is not a reliable source, but whatever we hear as hearsay or whatever we read somewhere, then in order to quote such material, we use present indefinite in the reporting verb. So this is also one patent use of present indefinite, where the matter to be quoted is preceded by the reporting verb in the present indefinite. Now we will discuss the use of present continuous and compare the usage of these two tenses so that you may be able to distinguish where you are to use present indefinite and where you are to use present continuous.